All right. Good afternoon and welcome to the December 13th meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have the roll call, please?
Authority members: Devine.
Here.
Garpetian.
Here.
Kelly. Najarian.
Here.
Barazian.
Here.
Kersanani.
Here. What's next on the agenda?
Report of the clerk. The agenda for the December 13, 2016 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Friday, December 9, 2016 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Next item is approval of minutes.
Do we have a...
Move 4A.
Yeah.
Second.
Any objections? Without any objections, the minutes are approved as submitted. Next item, please.
Next item is oral communication, and no cards were submitted for this portion, Mr. Chair.
None indeed. Next.
On the business agenda, at 6A is Director of Community Services and Parks regarding award of contract to Clarity Bit Focus Inc. as the new project vendor to operate the Glendale Homeless Management Information System. At 6A1 is Housing Authority motion to approve Clarify Bit Focus Inc. as the new project vendor for the Glendale HMIS system, and to authorize City Manager, Executive Director, or his designee to enter into operating agreements, sign all necessary documents pertaining to provisions of services by Clarity Bit Focus Inc.
Thank you, Mr. Ochoa.
Yes, so this is a rather straightforward one, something that we have been anticipating for a bit. Pun intended by the name of our vendor here. The folks at BitFocus applied through the regional procurement process that was undertaken by the Continuum of Care and the LA and Orange County collaboration regarding homelessness. So at this point, what you have before you is the request to approve BitFocus as the vendor for the HMIS, the Homeless Management Information System, that will be used by Yvette Samvelian and her team in cooperation with other members of the Continuum of Care as we are able to identify and track information on members of the homeless community in and around Glendale. A bit of good news here is that while we had intended that we would have to pay for the migration cost to upload and take all of our information from the existing system over to the new system, LASA, the larger regional homeless services authority over this area, is actually going to pick up that cost for us, saving the city about $57,000 for the Continuum of Care. The ongoing annual cost, I believe, of $45,000, however, will be absorbed. It is budgeted in the Continuum of Care, so we're asking for you to approve the vendor and to allow us to make that resolution. So if you have any specific questions about HMIS or about the Homeless Services Program overall, Yvette is here, Onik is here, and they can answer those for you.
Questions? I do have just for the record, we should make a correction to the agenda, which identifies BitFocus Inc. as opposed to BitFocus Inc.
That correction will be made.
Okay, thank you. Otherwise,
that would be for our trees that were.
I thought it was a tree trimming program. That's right. So we do need a motion for this.
So moved.
Second.
Can we have the roll call, please?
Authority members: Devine.
Yes.
Garpetian.
Yes.
Kelly. Najarian.
Yes.
Barazian.
Yes.
Kersanani.
Yes. Next.
Any authority member or staff comments?
Yes.
I have a comment. We all know that affordable housing is at a premium in the city, and that the processes that we have to fill spots for either affordable housing or senior housing or moderate income housing are well monitored and audited. But I want to let everyone in the community know, and perhaps put this out on our GTV6 Council Update station, that no one can advance any particular individual's application or acceptance into a affordable housing program at all. No one should be taking money from you. No one should be offering or representing to you, anyone in the public, that by speaking to them, that any one person can get you or your family into an affordable housing program. We had a scam several years ago where people, unscrupulous people, were paying money, their last hope of hopes to get into a program. But everyone needs to know that anyone that represents anything like that is unlawful, it's illegal, and that maybe we should even put the city attorney's number on, that if someone's claiming to be able to place them into affordable housing, that they should call and turn them in. I just, every week I'm hearing stories. Of course, they never come forward with names or with persons as to who this money's going to, but I think we have to let everyone know that this process is closely audited. This is separate from the general issues about being a Glendale resident or being a Glendale artist, working in Glendale. We set the policy for that as the housing authority, but no one can guarantee any one person's placement into an affordable housing program, and we should really try and put a stop to this.
Yes, Ms.
I have a
Parazian?
question. I believe my question is for Peter. Do we have exact opening of the art colony, formerly Arts Colony, and AC 21, I believe, right?
In opening date?
Opening date, yeah.
Mr. Chair, members of the Housing Authority, we do not have an opening date yet. We anticipate it's going to take place probably sometime in February, March, or April. Once they're at full lease up and operations have normalized, then we'll start planning something.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I have questions. It's probably going to require Mr. Zovak's expertise. As we're dealing with this rent and housing value increase that's taking place in Glendale specifically and in the region in general, coming across the issue of folks who do have a voucher, Section 8 voucher, but we're unable to place them because we can't find renters, apartment owners willing to enter into an agreement with the city and with the Section 8 program. Is that happening, and how is the increase in the rents impacting our ability to use the limited pool of money that we get from the federal government to place maximum amount of people in Section 8 housing?
I would say based upon what we are seeing in terms of our cases, the rent increases have been making it a little bit more difficult for our tenants to lease up. I think there are some occasions where someone is not able to lease up, and despite having a voucher. I think, though, for the most part, we are seeing that our tenants are taking longer to lease up until they find that unit that meets the requirements of and the criteria of the program.
It was my understanding that upwards of 30 vouchers are pending right now.
We have, as of late, we have pulled a few. There's been some movement on the waiting list, and there are a group of clients that have been qualified that are out there with a voucher and trying to secure a unit with it.
Okay, so that's the 30 that we're referring to, approximately.
Approximately.
Okay, that's a large number considering every one of those individuals or families are in desperate need of low-income housing. The question becomes, what is it that we can do? I understand we can't really do much because the amount of money that we have available is the amount of money that we have available, and that's the end of the story.
Right.
How can we impact and influence the HUD with its new secretary?
In today's times, no one knows.
To get more.
We have word that a 3-month budget is being proposed and approved. That'll take us through March, which is just a continuing resolution. And then the real budget process is going to start and be told to us. And frankly, I don't think we're expecting good news from it.
Expecting good news?
We are not expecting good news from that process at all. Maybe steps backwards.
Okay, which is scary.
Yeah. But just that you know, we've seen these increasing rents over the last year and a half to 2 years.
Right.
And we've been proactive at the program level for this. Last year, I think we increased our payment standards twice to help our tenants compete out there. Are they at the market rate rents? No, because if they were, then we'd have less people we'd be able to help in our program.
Sure.
So it's a very difficult balancing act to be able to increase how much we will pay on 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, but then also not increase it so much that
we
instead of helping 30 people, we're only helping 5.
Right.
But we recognize that, and we've made some changes, but it's a difficult process. So we've been proactive in that area to try and help as much as we can, and in granting extensions when they're warranted as well for someone who has gone out there and looked and then needs more time.
And last week, our legislative liaison, Christine Babumian Powers, sent out an email about a piece of legislation or a bill by Tony Atkins, I believe, about some major housing sort of funding plan. Do we have any details on that? And is the staff ready to report on that? Or no?
Yeah, it's a continuation of a bill that's been making its way up and down the Senate and at the Assembly level in the last 2 years, and they're just reviving it for this year. And it's a document transfer tax. So anytime there's a recorded document at the county levels related to a sales, any type of transaction on a property, then a $75 recording fee per document is being charged. And that bill is proposing that the state take all that funding that's being generated statewide and then dispersing it and trying to use it for affordable housing purposes. Okay. And staff has been, and now that the Assembly and the state and Senate level is back in session and starting up again, and that this bill is starting up again, we are making inroads to some of the proposers of the originators of that bill to look as to whether or not some of that money could be earmarked for local agencies as opposed to going up to the state. Sure. And maybe more so funding revenue that is generated within a jurisdiction first be proposed to stay in that jurisdiction to fund affordable housing. Okay. But even then, we're unsure as to how much can be generated using that, and it would vary year to year. Sure. Going back to the HUD, if the worst case, well, I guess worst could really be bad, like elimination of the HUD, but if something between that and getting funded fully as we have this year on the equal level, if a bad case scenario happens and there's actually a cut in the funding, are we going to have to start eliminating Section 8 vouchers? Is there something on the state level that can we plug the hole with state money? I mean, what do we have contingency plans? We would have some options available to us. There's a protocol in our administrative plan if we were to have to terminate people from the program due to budget lack of budget funding. There's a step-by-step that we go through that we've identified that would be the least harm to the least number of people. Mm-hmm. But there are other things before we get to that point that we can look at to try and implement to help offset any type of such as what budget impacts.
Not to interrupt, and this is an interesting discussion, but we are starting to get into the field where it's becoming a discussion, not just a question and answer series. Okay. So, well, I think let's agendize this discussion on HUD updates and legislative updates. I think that'd be appropriate to. Let's do that for the first of the year. Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Garpetian.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Sinanian. Just a follow-up question on the vouchers. Right now, what is the limit? What is the amount that the voucher for one-bedroom pays and for two-bedroom? What is that limit that we pay?
I don't have that with me. Unfortunately, I'll have to get that back to you.
Okay, let's say for a two-bedroom, if it's $1,200, for example, and they find a unit for $1,500, what determines that if they are eligible to pay that $300 difference between the two out of pocket, or maybe they have a family member who wants to help? What determines that amount that they can pay, the extra that they can pay and rent that unit instead of prolonging the process and getting an extension? Is there, I think that's one thing that I think Mr. Sinanian was indicating, how can we help them? I think that's one avenue that we have to look into, just to give them that liberty or opportunity to pay the difference if it's not a big difference between what they can pay and
at the risk of. We can bring that back for the discussion in January, and I would suspect we'd have more information come January anyway. And I'm not trying to. There are good questions, but I don't want this to become a discussion because it's not on the agenda.
It's a question. It's not a discussion.
In short, HUD rules really prevent us from doing that. There's not something that we could do locally.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Okay, so let's agendize this issue sort of in a global, holistic way and bring it back as soon as possible in January. Okay, any more comments from staff or council? None. Do we have new business? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
And we're adjourned at 3:22 p.m.
Okay, and I will call to order the December 13th meeting of the Glendale City Council and Glendale Housing Authority. We have roll call, please, for council.
Madam Mayor, if you will give us just 10 seconds to transition.
I will give that to you.
Wasn't Joe Kelly here today?
I believe he's sick today,